Jesus came to cancel the law and the Old Testament. We go by the New Testament. I said, why are we carrying this heavy book around? Just rip all that old part away and just keep the New Testament. Even with the 16 books in there that Paul wrote, still pretty small. But then one day I read it for myself. This is something a lot of Christians don't bother to do. Read it for yourself. Because it says in chapter 5 of the book of Matthew, verses 17, 18, 19, that Jesus said, "Do not think that I came to destroy the law," the Torah, the Old Testament. "Don't think I came to destroy the law and the prophets. I came not to destroy but to fulfill. And not until the coming of the kingdom and all things be accomplished shall a single dot, jot, tittle, iota of the law be in any wise lessened. And whoever breaks the least commandment and teaches this will be the least in the kingdom. But whoever keeps the commandments and teaches this will be the highest in the kingdom. And unless your righteousness exceeds that of the Pharisees, you will not enter paradise." And the Pharisees were the leaders of the synagogue, the Jewish religion at that time. They're the same ones who later got the Romans to come out and go after Jesus, peace be upon him, at Gethsemane. So, our view of Christians. I want to quote to you from the Quran in English only right now. It's in chapter 3, verse 110, the last part. It said, "And if the people of the book had believed, it would have been better for them. From them you will find those who do have faith. They're believers. But most of them are disobedient to God." I asked some of my former Christian friends, they were still friends, but I was former Christians. I should have said it the other way. I asked some of my Christian friends whom I used to be with. Maybe I should have said that way. "Is that a true statement? Do you consider that some of the Christians are believers?" They said, "Sure." I said, "But that most of them are disobedient?" They said, "Yep, absolutely." And think about it. First commandment, don't have any other gods beside God. Second commandment, don't make any idol statues or anything that flies in the air above, walks on the earth beneath, or swims in the sea beneath that. Can't do that. Does that include the dove, the bird of peace? Does it include the fish? "I will make you fishers of men," and you see it on the back of the car? Does it include having a statue of a man hanging there with a cross or something? Does it include that? Think. Third commandment says that you won't take God's name in vain. Do people do that? Fourth commandment, to remember the seventh day of the week, Saturday. Sabbath. Sabbath means what? 7. It's Jewish for 7. It's also Arabic for 7. 300 years later at the Council of Nicaea, they said, no, change it to Sunday. Who has the authority to break God's commandments? Not Jesus didn't say that. Paul did. Paul said it. He said you can break commandments. In fact, he said circumcision is only of the heart, so they don't have to do circumcision anymore. And pork and wine and all these things became okay for Paul, but not for Jesus. In seminary school, you learn what they call Pauline doctrine, and you find out why. Because the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, do not in any way, shape, or form match up with what Paul is talking about. Concepts different. It's considered two different doctrines. Islam teaches us that Christians in the original form, following the original book, at the time of Jesus, are the best of the believers. And those who followed Abraham at his time, and Moses at his time, and David at his time, and Solomon at his time are the best of the believers. And Islam teaches us Jesus will come back in the last day and lead the true believers to victory. And I hope all of us are there. If it happens, I hope all of us are with him. That's my prayer. And then we have another one. A lot of argument about evolution and intelligent design. Do you know, how many of you heard about intelligent design? It's called ID. This is now a buzzword with the scientists. Dr. Fatima Jackson, the professor of anthropology at Maryland University, was on my television show twice. And I wish we'd had time to do more shows because she's very intelligent and she studied this in big detail. I wish you could see the show, because she breaks it down and shows us a lot of things that the anthropologists know and have been saying right along, but the people that publish curriculum play with it and say something else. There is no basis for this idea that humans came from monkeys. Nowhere in science. But it wasn't until the Muslims brought the scientists together and they did the videos that I just told you about. It was right after that the scientist world came up with this word intelligent design, because they had nowhere else to go. I wish you'd look at it and see for yourself. I have to tell you that I wish I could be with you all night, but we have to close down the program. So please use the internet and write to me and be patient with me. I travel a lot and it's difficult sometimes to get access to the internet, but I'll try my best. AskIslam@AOL.com. Send us some email. Visit our websites. Visit our chat room. That's a good way to meet Muslims and learn more about Islam and understand the Muslims. And by the way, we're not